Okay, hi, I'm Christina. So the topic that our debate is on is cameras in the courtroom. A little history on it is the first real known trial with cameras in the courtroom was in 1925 for what is known as the Scopes Monkey trial. And his trial had still cameras and was the first trial to ever be broadcasted over the radio. The second case to get huge media attention was the kidnap and murder of the Lindbergh of Colonial Charles Lindbergh's son in 1935, 10 years later. The trial was thought to be a circus event because of all the cameras, news reporters, and spectators in and out of the courtroom. After the American Bar Association, ABA, set up a committee to analyze the media coverage, they came up with 16 different recommendations, one of which recommended that cameras should be banned from the courtroom. Before the report could be written, the House of Delegates for the ABA passed Canon 35, which called for no courtroom photography or radio broadcast. In 1952, Canon 35 was revised to also prohibit TV cameras. However, in 1946, Congress stepped in and forbid photographic coverage and radio in federal courts. This became known as Rule 53. By the 1950s, this rule was in place in all states except for 4, which were Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, and Colorado. In 1965, a Supreme Court case which concerned that a broadcast coverage had deprived Billy Soule estates of a fair trial. The majority basically said that television cameras had a detrimental psychological impact on jurors, witnesses, the judge, and the defendant. In 1972, however, the American Bar Association came back to Canon 35 and changed prohibiting cameras in the courtroom to allowing cameras in the courtroom for non-media purposes, such as making a court record, presenting evidence, or producing educational materials. The case of Chandler versus Florida went to the Supreme Court in 1979. The decision was that there isn't a constitutional ban on still cameras, radio, and television coverage in all cases under all circumstances. Today, cameras are allowed in the courtroom at the judge's discretion. However, in federal courts, they are not allowed at all. This leads to the main claim, which is that cameras should be allowed in the courtroom regardless of the judge's opinion. So the first supporting claims that we have are the people have the right to access information from the court. Cameras will improve public confidence in the judiciary system. Cameras create educational value, which then helps create an individual point of view. Cameras improve the trial process, and video recordings will tell everything and hide nothing. So the first claim, which is people have the right to access information from the courts. The first subpoint, is people have rights as citizens of the United States. The author of Cameras in the Courtroom by Alicia Myers said that it's very common now that people view the world and their community through the technology that we have. For the courts not to be open to this, I think deprives people of access to the courts, which is said from Judge Paul Crosh-Lund of the 1st Judicial District. The second subpoint is America is a free country according to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. In Cameras in the Courtroom, a different book by David Dow and Marjorie Cohen, the expansive constitutional rights of public access to court proceedings, coupled with more than 2 decades of experimentation and experience with electronic coverage of judicial proceedings, mandates a presumption in favor of allowing such coverage. The second claim is cameras improve public confidence in the judiciary system, which is supported by the fact that public needs to see it to believe it. They have mistrust in many things, and the judiciary system is included. And also, the public is not well informed of the judiciary system. The third claim is cameras have an educational value in the courtroom. This thought has been backed by different state Supreme Courts. In News Cameras in the Courtroom by Susanna Barber said, when the camera access movement began in earnest in the mid to late 1970s, several state Supreme Courts highlighted education as an important reason for granting access. Also, supporting this claim, cameras show what really happens in a courtroom and the consequences of an action, and cameras will create a more enlightened public. The fourth claim is cameras improve the trial process. To support this, cameras keep people in the trial on their toes to do a better job. And the second one is when broadcast cameras will make the courtroom more formal. The last claim is video recordings will tell everything and hide nothing to the public. The first supporting point is sometimes jurors miss things because they don't understand it in a trial and need to review what happened. Second subpoint is if someone lies under the oath, the camera will be hard evidence to prove he or she did not tell the truth. And the third point is cameras won't hide what is going on in the courtroom. So the plan we present is that we should allow cameras in the courtroom, and that based on this, TV broadcast stations can bring in their own cameras, so we don't have to supply anything and no money will be used. Thank you.
You guys might want